For many Palestinians, this weekend's attacks were the response after years of oppression. I spoke this afternoon to Sabrine Damanhouri, the organizer of the San Diego chapter of the Palestinian Youth Movement. First, just your reaction to Saturday morning's attacks.
I mean, my initial reaction was I was just kind of shocked what was happening, but also it was almost a sense of relief that people are finally waking up and kind of seeing what's been happening in Palestine for a really long time. It's important to note that this isn't really something that started on Saturday. This has been an ongoing incident that started in 1948, and Gaza has been under siege, for the past 16 years. So it's really important that we make a notice of that.
Well, we know this is one of the deadliest years on record for Palestinians, especially in the West Bank. Is that why Hamas attacked now, or was this more of a propaganda play? Can you speak to that at all?
I mean, I'm not necessarily sure why they specifically decided to attack now, but I think for right now, it's important that we recognize it's been 16 years that Palestinians in Gaza have been living under siege. They have been living in an open-air prison. So it's been a really long time coming. So it's not surprising that someone wouldn't want to be living in a cage for that long.
There has been some debate on whether Hamas is a terrorist organization or a resistance organization. The U.S. has long time called it more of a terrorist organization. The details of this attack, obviously, as you know, were pretty gruesome. In your opinion, was this an act of terrorism or an act of resistance?
Palestinians living in Gaza have been living under an occupation, and these people are just resisting the occupation that they've been living under for the past 16 years.
What would be your main message to people after seeing some of these images from this latest attack?
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to start waking up and understanding that we here in the United States are also funding this. So $3.8 billion of our tax money, our tax dollars goes to funding, what's happening in Palestine right now. If it's not something that we like, then I think, the government, the people here in the States need to say something.
All right, Sabrine Damanhouri, Palestinian Youth Movement organizer, we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Meantime, a man visiting San Diego from Israel is eager to reunite with his family. Hanan Lieberman is here with his one-year-old daughter, serving at a local synagogue. His wife and son are hiding in bomb shelters. The couple is constantly communicating, but when sirens ring out, his wife will abruptly hang up.
I know that there's about a minute and a half that I have to wait before the sirens stop and the rockets either land or get blown up by the Iron Dome. And in that time, I'm in a state of paralyzed shock, what is happening?
Wow. Well, Lieberman is expected to fly back to Israel in about a week and a half. All right, so what led up to this point between Hamas and Israel? ABC 10 News anchor Jared Aarons takes a closer look at the history between the two.
So we wanted to provide a little more context and perspective to the war. It comes really after decades of conflict between Hamas and Israel. You're looking at a map of the region. We're zooming in, though, on this specific part, the Gaza Strip, right down here in the south of Israel. Israel took that land and actually a lot more from Egypt during the Six-Day War in 1967. Over the years, they gave most of it back, but they gave this strip back in 2005 as part of peace negotiations. As for Hamas, they've been around for a while. Even back in 1987, they were part of the first Palestinian uprising in Gaza. So let's go through a little bit of a timeline. In 2007, Hamas won an election in Gaza, which gave them control of the area. It's important to note, at that time, Hamas had already been recognized as a terrorist organization by the U.S., the European Union, and Israel. So when they won that election, they got sanctions and blockades imposed from all over the world. A lot of Palestinians call those sanctions oppressive. There has been fighting on and off since then. Even just 2 years ago, 250 people in Gaza and 13 in Israel were killed in an 11-day war. Recent hardening of sanctions by Israel's government under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has fueled anti-Israel sentiment from Palestinians and their supporters. And that brings us kind of up to this weekend, which many Israelis are calling that that country's 9/11. Jared Aarons, ABC 10 News.
Jared, thank you. And you at home can stay on top of the very latest out of Israel on 10news.com and the ABC 10 News mobile app.